Mr. Vines, it's a great pleasure to meet you.
And mighty turkey to meet you too, Vernon.
And I want to say I'm so impressed, and I'm very I think it's incredible the work you've been doing building these instruments. I mean, I was introduced to your work by this book, Hanging Tree Guitars,
Right.
that you so very kindly signed to me. I got a copy of it signed, and there's so many questions I want to ask you, like how did you come to build the very first one?
Well, thing about it was back then I wanted to play real bad and had to learn a tune or two. But guitars when the territory I lived in weren't very accessible. Every now and then somebody would have no warp neck Stella or some kind of true tone or silver tone, but the
Mm-hmm.
old blues men wouldn't let you mess with them. But anyway,
Mm.
so I started to wiring up tuba folds and this and that and everything. And as time went on, my little concept of what it's supposed to look like got better and better. And then at a while, I kind of got to the place I could make a guitar that looked like one, but that won't satisfactory.
Mm.
I wanted the guitar to do and say something that the average man guitar wouldn't do. Cause see, the first guitar was designed, they won't give us no credit for it, but it was designed as a woman without legs and a head. So
Hmm.
dudes like Gibson and Fender and them, they embellished it and made their version of it, but that wasn't
Mhm.
the first version. So after a while, I got to messing with them and mess around and got some to play and stuff and everything, and that's the way it got started. Folks got to chunking them away and stuff and everything. Every now and then you find one with a good pickup and a good tone button, which wouldn't have worked and stuff. But I studied a little bit about electronics and I learned that the pickup ain't nothing but a pickup, regardless how much money you pay for it,
Mm.
whose name on it. It ain't gonna do but one thing, and that's pick the sound up of the string, the vibration, and send them to the amplifier.
Right on.
But the best pickup could be made, and you know about this right here.
Mm-hmm.
I experimented with a lodestone. You remember them?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the white man called them a rare earth stuff because it came out of the ground magnetic.
Right on.
Worked pretty good till I found out that it wasn't long enough, reach across all the string. So I left that alone. Then I
Okay.
experimented with the crystal because it contains an energy with blah, blah, blah and everything. But there's a lot you can do with a pickup. Then if you mess around with the body of the guitar and find
Mm-hmm.
out that the body complements the pickup, see now
Mm-hmm.
they don't do nothing but just take a flat piece of wood, route it
Mm-hmm.
out and put some pickups on it, and you buy the name of Gibson and Fender, and you'll swear, yeah, that Fender I got, man, or that Gibson ain't doing nothing but picking up the vibration of the string and sending them to the amplifier.
Mm-hmm.
And to change the tonal qualities, you got to change the concept of the pickup the way it go into the electronic system by
Indeed.
using the old model capacitors. The new model ceramic capacitors, they don't do too much. They don't enhance the sound. They don't take away nothing. Don't give nothing.
Mm-hmm. Man. So when you first built your first instrument and actually it actually worked, because I would imagine there was a certain amount of trial and error. Like
Right. You
you
got
experiment, you do something, it didn't work out so well, and then you went back to the drawing board and did it again, and you did it again. So how satisfying was it the first time you built one of your instruments and it felt like a real for real guitar?
it was awesome. But the only thing was that it had no character.
Mm,
Treble and bass, all you could get. So
mm,
that's when I started thinking about the electronic system. Now, the ultimate guitar was wired according to the old model Crosby radio.
okay.
I employed the Crosby system of the treble and bass and everything. I left out the on and off button. and finally got it to work. And I found out, man, it sounded terrific. But then I wanted to go then and get some more sound. That's when the electronic study and stuff came in. I just not bought no radio with a whole lot of them capacitors and stuff in it. And you will be surprised at what it'll do to an instrument. And plus, to complement the whole instrument, you have to have tonal quality by putting sound chambers in there. Each one have to have a different dimension. Because if it ain't got a different dimension, all you got is a semi-hollow instrument.
Right.
But you have to keep messing with it till you get all those chambers. The best wood to use for that would be, changing the conversation a little bit, is a Steinway piano, but you can do it with other wood. And when it complements those strings, you'll say, hey, is that same instrument with them Japanese pickups on it? And that's just the way it goes.
So how many years ago? Well, I'm gonna back up.
Right.
I'm back up. So when you first made your guitars, you made it with wood that you just had locally around your house, or how'd you? Because I would imagine your first guitars were made. Now you could correct me, but I would think that your first guitars were made with wood that you had available to you. And then when did you get the wood from an actual hanging tree?
Well, that's been a few years ago. I bought some wood from a man. He was had a plantation over there and pushing down. He had pushed down all the building but one. And one day I came through there and saw him. And I stopped and asked him about buying some of the wood, pushing down and everything. And he told me about the wood in there, and I looked at it, and I went on, got it started to the truck that loaded. And he said, Freeman, he said, you may not want that wood there. I said, why come? He said, a man was hung on that tree. That's what closed the whole conversation about the hanging. Here come Tim. Here come Tim Duff. Wanted to know what I was going to do with the wood, this and first one thing and another. And the next time Tim came, he had conclusive evidence that a man was hung on that tree. The folks way hung him, he had all the documented evidence and everything. So I told him, I won't hear no more, don't want to know no more. I said, cause I got to live around here. But he kept digging and digging until he just knowed everything happened. But I didn't want to hear no more because these folks around here is sneaky. You already seen that. What they done at the White House. They grin in your face, and at night they don't hang you no more. Now they'll kill you and put a gun in one of your brother's hand and claim he done it. You know they'll do it. Get you walking down the street, kill you and your homeboy, and then put a gun in his hand, or maybe wound him. And that gun is in his hand, and he keep telling people he didn't do it, and they won't believe. So that hanging tree is deep, and this man here, Tim Duffy, a brother told me, an old brother, he Black Coalition or something. He said that's the honest man that ever been in any kind of book or on anybody's lips that actually got some wood off a hanging tree and can prove it.
That's
and I looked into it. He told the truth. Tim spent a lot of time finding out about that because he can't mess with you if telling a lie. If you lie to him, them people go to dig and see he the one gonna be in trouble for false information and stuff. So he got it all his evidence and everything about the tree. And tell you the truth, some things he told me scared me.
I can imagine.
They murdered that boy, shot him 100 times, laid guns on the table so if you walk by there, you were a white dude, so you could shoot. They didn't hang him by the neck. They hung him under the arms. Then Eddie got through killing him, said he cut stuff off that it was down there and stuck it in his mouth and let him hang there.
That is terrible.
Yeah.
That is.
It was bad, but he got the information like I tell you. When white folks I'm interviewing, I don't tell them that.
Mm.
I let him tell him. I tell him I don't know nothing about it. They got to call Tim, but being your brother, see, I can tell you.
Let me tell you something. It's so powerful. Your instruments. You have one instrument that looks like an African mask. You have
Exactly.
you have many instruments that have a vitality, a life to them. And then some of them, I look at that, I say, that looks like a telecast. That looks kind of, I like, there's some of them that look, wow, that looks like, I'm checking it out, and it looks as good as anything you see, at these stores or whatever.
Right.
And how many from the single? What did the hanging tree guitars? Did they come from a single tree?
Single tree, a walnut tree, black walnut, they
Mm,
call it. And to verify the fact that it was a walnut tree, and show you how sneaky Tim was now, he goes and buddy with the woman whose grandfathers and stuff were in on a deal of the hanging and stuff, and he found out stuff that I wouldn't have never thought about. See, she opened up and told him stuff and showed him where everything happened that she wouldn't done us like that. So he has all that information and stuff. Like I told him, I don't want to hear no more.
mm,
These folks are sneaky around here. And you talking about the telecast now. I'm gonna tell you a secret about that. You ain't gonna
okay.
believe this right here.
Mm,
That man brung a concert Steinway piano, 18th century, 17th, 18th century piano. We
mm-hmm.
stripped it down and made the Telecaster configuration guitars out. And they
Wow.
sounded so remarkable. I don't know what he did with them. And the finish on them was the finish that was on the wood over 100 years ago. All
Wow.
I did was polish it and put some, I can't think of the name of the tongue oil on them.
Mm-hmm.
And no paint on them and nothing like that.
Mm,
And then they look so good to folks now. See,
right.
Telecaster shapes and Les Paul shapes mean nothing to me. I
Right.
let the salt, I let the salt determine what shape my instrument gonna be. Either the way the instrument, the grain. Anyway, it's kind of
You let the wood tell you what to do.
right, a spiritual thing.
Mm-hmm. It's very, very powerful.
Yeah,
Um,
you sat down and talked with a guy like Tim Duffy. I tell you, coach, you don't live him, but you can glean some information from him that ain't never been told before.
mm,
I don't want to hear it. I don't ask him nothing about it.
right.
All I
You didn't want to know too much about it. You just said, listen, man, I'm just trying to build these guitars. And he would say, well, look here, man, it's this and it's that. I said, excuse me, I don't want to know.
don't want to know it. And he understand. He pretty
Mm-hmm.
understandable dude. Sure is.
Well, I mean, I like to think that obviously the spirit of the person whose life was taken is very much imbued in the instruments.
He said the same thing, man.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the same words, but in the same manner that it's the spiritual thing that wood, that a lot of that wood, all I did was embellish what was there because it was a knot. On the porch one day, I'm sitting there minding my own business. He
Mm-hmm.
comes up there and he sees the knot. I said, Dad, he won't like he said this and that. And so when he left, I went to beating on the knot, gonna clear it up so I could see what the knot said. And
Mm-hmm.
a piece fell out on the floor. So I kept beating on the other piece and it fell out. I took one piece and put on top of the other piece, and it was a shoe.
A shoe.
A shoe. But it was shaped like an oblong knot and a round knot on the top. But it put together, I glued it together.
Mm-hmm.
I cleaned it up, but it was the shape of a shoe. Guess what Tim did then?
Mm-mm, don't
He
know.
went to digging in and found out the man that they killed on the tree
Mm-hmm.
messed with shoes and stuff, repairing shoes in some manner or another.
Wow.
And then there was another big knot on a piece.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting there looking at it, started scraping. You know how the loose wood come out? When I got
Mm-hmm.
through with it, it looked just like a skull. So I glued it on another piece of the hanging tree wood, and there was a horrific skull, looked just like a John Brown man face. And guess what? Here the something.
Mm-mm.
The face was round. I took and done an artist concept of it, which it wasn't too good, but it was round and shaped just like some of that guy relatives I seen. You know, with the round.
Yeah, from forehead. Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
And
That's
it's back here on this thing here somewhere. I don't know where it's at, but it's back there. But there's just some stuff happened about that tree that you just can't believe it.
it's incredible. How did
It's
so
incredible, man.
so you was trying to mind your own business
Right.
and make these instruments, and now I'm holding this book. So the story had to get out. How'd the story get out?
Well, we thought about that and talked it over, told him I know a whole lot about writing, so the third grade education. I don't tell everybody that because I want people to think I've been to college. But he brung a woman there, Ms. Van Buren, somebody, and she writes stuff like that. So she wrote it just like I told her. And she was real specific about it because when she write a certain amount, she would ask you about it. And then you said to yourself, you said, dang, I just told her that. Now she wanted to hear it again. But when she got through with the book, it was just like I told her, and this and that right there. I mean, it was just like I told her, no adding and no taking away. Powerful woman about writing stuff where you said.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is a very important. I mean, I was not aware of your work until I heard about the book, and it's funny because I actually have two. I actually have two copies of the book because when I heard about the book, I went and bought one on my own,
Right.
and then my man said, "Oh man, I think they want you to talk to Freeman Vines." I said, "Oh, I would love to." And then they sent me a second copy that you assigned to me. So I actually have one legit that I bought with my money. And then they sent me a free one with your signature. So I'm very happy about that. And I'm gonna say that this is so the story of it, the way so many things have been hidden
And
in his so many things. And these instruments, this your work is so powerful because even though I know you're very careful and you try not to get into trouble, but the thing about it is that the story you told about making these instruments, it couldn't stay hid. I mean, the world need to know how people got treated. The world need to know, about these things. And I applaud your courage. You're incredibly brave to have done the thing that you did with these instruments. I for real, for real, for real. It's incredible.
yeah, I had the help of a professional people called for folks about the instruments and the stuff like that right there. You know, sometimes when you get to the end of the road, you got to turn to the left or the right. And some
Mm-hmm.
people will stand right at the crossroads of life and make a fool of themselves.
Mm.
But these people came in and helped me, not no talking about yo home it. You got to do this. And they didn't do that. They sat there and listened. They right.
Mm.
And then what you say, because I found out later on, old preacher, he come down here and told me some stuff. But I found out later on, you just can't put anything in a book,
Mm-hmm.
and then say it's true. He
Mm-hmm.
said you couldn't do it. But anyway, I tell you, I was real impressed at the way the book was wrote and stuff. Even some things in there I learned from my own self.
Mm-hmm.
Joe
Right?
did.
Yeah, it's incredible. Books are funny that way. About the photographs, what was it like when you met the photographer when Timothy came through and he shot with one of them old fashioned type of cameras, right? Because I think a lot of his stuff was very it's not digital photography. Um, it seems like it's very old school.
Well, what Tim did, he had my homeboys where I was telling about it in the project. He said they call it a Jesse James camera. So
Mm-hmm.
I met this professional photographer woman, and she told me, she said, Tim was Timothy Duffy, you call him.
Mm-hmm.
Said he was the only man she know that had mastered that camera this day and time. She said, did you smell those chemicals he used? I said, yeah. She said, did you know how dangerous they is? I said, no. But he would come out there when the sun was hot, man, I'm talking burning up, and he would go to work in the morning, he'd eat dinner, he'd go to work, and about folk maybe time to go back, he go back. He done that and done that and done that, taking pictures in the book and taking pictures in the book. I said to myself, I said, I sure hope that guy don't think I'm gonna pay him. And he didn't ever say that about no money or nothing. So I felt pretty comfortable then. And being he didn't say that about no money, I said, God, guy shooting all them pictures, that, this and that, and first one thing and another thing, you know. He got the job done. The lady told me, said it was the best photographer she had seen besides that was originally done because nobody went to the extent to know how to. She even asked me, said, where did he get the chemicals from? Said, them places that they stink what made them chemicals. I told her, I don't know nothing about no chemicals. Don't know where you get them from. I said to myself, I said, I'm tired of talking about that now. The Jesse James camera. It's sitting here right now. Great big camera. I mean, huge.
Yeah. The kind where you got to go over and cover yourself and the whole bit.
A whole lot of stuff. You cover yourself and do this. Then you put some things in there and do this. Then you put some more things and go in there, run to the trailer and open the door and man, you know be about to cook off and hey, there's a whole lot of things you had to do for the mess that camera. I said to myself, wouldn't he been better off to buy one of them $9 cameras and you know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Go
I
to the
do.
drugstore, get the
Go to
$9.
drugstore and get you a portable
Right.
camera. One of them.
But
So Mr. Vines, when you built these instruments, did you build them primarily for your? You didn't build them to sell to people, did you? Or did you? Were you going to sell your instruments to people, or have you sold your instruments to people, or did you build them all primarily for yourself?
well, I built them for a sound. Here what happened.
Okay.
I had bought an old tractor and trailer top of a truck and made tent that had me on what I call the assembly line. Nobody would work for me. But I came out there one evening and something happened. I became the music and the feeling. I don't know what happened. But from then on, after then, I'd go to the gospel concert and listen to that, folks. I could know when an instrument was in tune. It changed my whole concept of music. Then this when I started seeking the sound. There was a sound there. It's hard to explain. It wasn't blues. It wasn't Christian. It wasn't classic. I never heard it before, and I ain't heard it again. That's what I was doing, seeking the sound, the instruments and stuff. I want them to be comfortable to play, but I kept right on going and going and going, you know, trying to find that sound. Never found it. My grandson told me, Paul, I'm going to find that sound for you with a third grade mind. He ain't going to find that.
So you got your grandchildren, they're still searching for that sound, huh?
No, he claimed he is. He live in Winston-Salem, and his mother and that crowd, they don't like me too good because they claim I was a blues man and wife, she accused me of all the girls would be shaking around you when you playing blues and hanging on you and stuff. And then he said, they come there with their boyfriend. He said, just because they drink whiskey and then a shot house don't mean they're not decent women.
So you mentioned something in the book about how you learned to read, like you basically you learned to read in the penitentiary, right?
Yeah, went to the chain gang down yonder in the 60s, Camp 203 Newbern. And the man told me, the Captain Jake, he said, you come here dumb and said, I noticed you got the boys writing letters for you and stuff. He said, we have a program here. Said 2 hours after you make honor grade, say you have 2 hours to go to school. And went to school, found out they didn't have nothing in there but comic books, newspaper. The convict was the one teaching in this alleged school. He was doing that so he wouldn't have to ditch and swab, you know. So I got in there. And the first thing I know, he kept on saying the same thing over and over. I learned how to read 2 words, Captain Marvel. And I would sit there and think about how many words you could make out of the John Brown Captain Marvel. And after a while, I could read this and read that and done a little writing. And of course, I can't have writing now, but done a little writing and stuff. And I learned that in there down at Camp 203 Newbern.
So the thing about being careful about what you have to say and that feeling, are you still feeling those? Are you still feel like you have to be cautious about what you do and how you live right
Well,
now?
well, how you live and cost and stuff like that, right? That all fine and well. But what I'm saying is, if I was to get out there, well, it got a little stove here where everybody kind of go to, they kind of gather out there when they spending their food stamps and playing numbers and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
see, if you go out there blabbing, yeah, I'm the guy who wrote that book about that hanging tree where they hung that boy down the road, see you in trouble then. That's what I
Mm.
mean by, I got to live around here and be careful.
Right on.
See, these some folk around here are a little bit more powerful than you think they is, cause they got that white supremacy and that other
Mm.
organization. They around here called the Klansman, the Grand Poobah is a friend of mine.
The grand poobah of the Ku Klux Klan.
Yeah. Tim met him. I told Tim
Wow.
I told Tim the Grand Poobah a friend of mine, so got into that. He met the Grand Poobah. Grand Poobah took pictures with him.
Wow.
Your Poob told me, he said, I do what I got to do and you do what you got to do, blah, 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 and everything. The only reason I had to deal with him, because at that time, I was messing up a little bit, had to borrow a dollar or two here and there and
Mm-hmm.
go to his warehouse and get surplus food. And I had to listen to a lot of things I didn't want to hear, but I didn't have no choice.
Well, I would imagine that right about now, um, museums and places like that want to get at least one of your guitars for their exhibitions and things. I would imagine.
Yeah, Tim, he's supposed to be handling that because right now I had one I took out and they're supposed to do something to the other one, the good one they call it, and right now I would be kind of handicapped by trying to read and stuff. And then Miss Smith there, she takes me to the doctor, and that's the strangest thing in the world. When they see
Mm,
Miss Smith walk in there, I can get treated just like other people do. But when I used to go in there by myself, man, they act
mm,
different.
mm-hmm.
She the one found an infection in my eye. I probably would have been dead, but now
Mm,
she said I had had a seizure, but I still saw what I saw. And the one thing I
mm,
ain't never been good at, and that's telling lies.
mm.
That's what got me in a lot of trouble.
Have you been doing any recording, or has anybody used your guitar?
Excuse
Bless you,
me.
bless you. Has anyone used your instruments? Or have you done any recording of your instruments? Or
Johnny Ray Daniels played with the Vine sisters for years and years, and they were great recording artists at one time, the Vine sisters, but he used one of my instruments. A guy out there that late grade used one. I snuck over there going to buy it, and I found out he still had it. And he looked at me, he said, you think I'm a damn fool. He said, I done read that book, said, and seen that up. And seen that website stuff. He said, I'm not going to sell it to you. He said, here it is right here.
hmm,
Johnny Ray, he don't know what he done with that one cover. See, he has that guitar on the cover of a whole lot of album covers because, they made a lot of albums. They got a little bit famous in the gospel music field, but, gospel music people, they don't never make it big.
mm,
People like to hear him perform, but they don't want to see him move up the ladder.
mm.
You're dealing with church people, you're dealing with the worst people in the world. I found that I found that out when I was playing with the Mighty Mighty All Star.
Is that right?
Yeah, here come the All Star. But when they take out the collection, gonna give you a little money, they give you a handful and they keep the bowl full. I told Pete, I said, I'm through with this.
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah. Well, be contradictory. To praise the Lord and keep the money.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, the preacher had the nicest vehicle and wear the nicest suit. The one way they keep begging, ain't got nothing.
Mm. Well, I would like to hear some of your guitars played by, I there. I would love to play one of your guitars, and I know that there's a lot of artists um, who who I think would enjoy certain types of tunes and certain kind of blues and gospel music too. I think your instruments would have a special feeling to it.
Yeah, they have, and then they got special sound. Now, here's another thing happened too, and I don't mind telling you.
Mm-hmm.
He walks in the door with excuse me, with an instrument that we made from some of his piano wood.
Mm-hmm.
And he struck it up and put it in the amplifier and struck the guitar. I didn't let him know it, but I said to myself, I said, I wonder what he done to that instrument. He played it and he played blues real good. I ain't talking about
Mm-hmm.
blues. I ain't talking about BB King blues and blues where you gotta have the drums and bass, and I'm talking about the straight out blues like them old guys do down in the Delta around Louisiana and Alabama and place.
Mm-hmm.
He played the whole guitar.
That's
And
right.
he got the chunking some stuff down named Railroad Sam or somebody. I said, dang, the Etta Brown or some kind of brown woman that kind of made that fine. I said, that rascal ain't playing the same thing we play. And the guitar sounded so daggone good. Each string complemented the other one. Instead of
Mm-hmm.
you just having an aggressive string that you focus on, and the rest of them don't make no difference. Each string complemented the other one. And between changes, when he knocked a little augmented and accidentals in there, the
Mm-hmm.
strings still complemented each other. You
Mm.
know, most of the guys that play guitar, what they call blues, they
Mm-hmm.
want their first string to be the most aggressive. And they'll
Mm-hmm.
use the bass string up there, to thump with their thumb, they do the bass. But each one of those strings had an individual character and they were complementing each other.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't seen that since I was down there in the bayou from old Frank Sorrow. That's how he played guitar when he had all the strings on it. Most of the things break the bottom string.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Man, it's remarkable. I mean, how many instruments did you make? Were you able to build out of that one tree?
I'm gonna tell you the truth. I ain't never known. I know the bunch. I already knew a bunch on them. I ain't never know exactly how many caught. I stayed away from that tree call. One night about 12 o'clock, I'm out there working on the guitar and stuff. And I had to be careful about going in and out because there were wild dogs around there.
Mm.
And it felt, everybody done had this feeling. They won't admit it, but it felt just like somebody was standing behind me looking at.
Mm.
And I got a little bit of fearful there, and I went on in the house and I didn't go out there and work no more late.
Mm.
Didn't.
So you felt the presence.
I felt the presence of something there was something in that side of me. I came
Mm.
out, I didn't turn, I normally turn the light out when I left the light on in there that time.
Mm.
But that didn't deter me from, the building the instrument because the daylight hours you can work on stuff.
Right. Right. So basically, you can work in the daytime, but if we get at night around midnight or so, it get a little strange.
Now you talk. You got what
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about.
Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that. Well, I mean, just looking at your instruments, each one, no two of them look alike. They're all each one has got its own vibration, its own feeling.
You sure right about that, cause you take some of them instruments on that hanging tree, regardless of how you try to cut it with a jigsaw. See,
Mm.
they had their own grain, and you had to follow the grain because you try to cut straight in a grain. Here you got to buy another blade. So you
That's
learn how to
right.
follow the grain, and
Mm-hmm.
then after you get through with that, look at it. It was a guitar shape, but it really, and unless you had a little bit of an imagination, it wasn't that guitar shape until you
Uh-huh.
got the neck and the hardware on. Then all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden, and they are super comfortable. They ain't like just hanging it under your arm with the round part and the other part. They are comfortable. They seem like they fit you pretty good. But you ought to get Tim to knock you out some licks on that. I really still got it. That Steinway guitar called that's a remarkable sounding instrument, man. And what
Mm.
about old Telecasters and stuff like that? I got them right here on the floor where I walk on.
Mm-hmm.
Joey.
Mm-hmm.
And I ain't studying that Les Paul because it ain't got but two tones. a muddy sound. If you ain't got some effects to play Les Paul, you in trouble.
Mm, that's you're pretty opinionated about your competitors.
Well, now I'm just telling you the truth. It don't bother me a bit. I just know their name and I use their name because they got it on the neck of the guitar. But you ain't got to
Yeah.
take my word for it. You can take a Japanese $3 guitar, get in the back room, rig your effects up. I used to play with a board. I know how to use a board, but you can get all that little sustain and chorus and all that stuff and get it all like it's supposed to be. And
Mm-hmm.
there ain't no difference in the sound of the instrument. All you doing is toting something around heavy with a name on it.
Mm. Mm.
No, there ain't no competitive cause I'm not out here to sell an instrument. So I ain't competing with nobody.
That's true.
I wanted my sound.
You wanted your sound.
Nah, I run into some warming maple here and my eye will get right. I can't wait to hear how it goes sound.
Oh, you got some new. Oh man.
And
So
I got some wood, I got some bodies cut out and a whole lot of stuff, but I had to get my eye fixed and then they put a stop on it for a while.
mm, so you're gonna do a you have a whole new series of instruments that you're gonna build.
Yeah, and Tim here toted off a few. I don't know what he did with them. I ain't gonna ask him what he done with them, cause that. But we went into a different area, cause couldn't find that other piano, and the Steinway piano, which you ain't gonna do it, I ain't gonna do it, and
Mm-hmm.
every man, as the folks told me, they said we can't believe a man would strip down a Steinway, and the parts in it is made out of bronze. They ain't made out of brass. They made for vibration.
Mm-hmm.
And a Steinway got the closest, the tightest grain. You had to look at it to see. Then you know what I'm talking about, because you done messed around with them too.
So do you want in terms of the pickups for the instruments, you made your own pickups too.
Yeah, I made pickup and easy to do. You remember the old, there was a young, when I was a young guy, they had a company that sold what they call crystal radio.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I got the idea from. A crystal radio ain't nothing but a crystal, come from Philadelphia, not Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. You wrap the wire around that, make sure that it's varnished real good so that it won't short out. You wrap
Mm-hmm.
the wire around that till you get a certain amount of wraps. Then you hook it up to a earphone.
Okay.
You'll find out you can get a muddy station. You keep rapping and rapping and rapping, and the station get louder and louder. But that played out. I forgot the name of that company where sold them a crystal radio. That what gave me the idea about the pickup.
Mm-hmm. Wow. It's amazing. It's amazing. And so I see that you got your mask. How you been doing with this pandemic? How you been keeping yourself? How you been
But
keeping yourself?
I'm keeping a low profile, and a lot of people they take it to be a life matter to wear a mask, and I got all kind of stuff I spray in here. My sister and her white folks took and set it up in here so that I'll be straight up. And a lot of people ignore the mask, but what choice have you got? Wear the mask, catch the disease,
Mm-hmm.
wear the mask, and hope you don't catch it. Because they
Yeah.
ain't got around and giving everybody shots now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's real talk. That is
It,
very
it,
real.
this is worse than the Black Plague.
Mm. Hopefully they can try to get it under control sometime soon. For
I sure
real.
hope to do because they have put brakes on. Well, I put brakes on my instrument making because I can lay down nights and stuff and see the forms of the guitars and make them and wake up. And then I said, dang, I hear me with one eyeball and the other one got to be fixed. It's just something bad. I mean, I sure hope I find the sound, but I ain't found it yet. And I've heard some good guitarists, but they ain't nothing but a plain of guitar.
Mm.
If you have perfect pitch, I don't know how I got it now. A guy told me that after I had that incident with that sound. He said, you got perfect pitch. How you know that bottom string ain't in tune? I said, you got a tuner? He said, yeah, but it's in tune. I said, you got a tuner? He said, yeah. I said, put the tuner there and strike it. He said, damn, you ain't right. I can listen at a whole band playing and tell you who in tune, out of tune, whether the man beating with them. I don't know why I do it. It bothers me a lot of time when I'm listening at my favorite song, Nadine. Because I can hear that guy on the bass guitar when he run out in tune at Chuck Berry doing that little dinky dacky dinky dacky dinky dacky dinky dacky. But the guy on the bass, he ain't with it.
Mm. So you can hear that the bass in Nadine is out of tune.
Yeah, you can hear it.
Mm.
Listen at it. But Chuck Berry, he ain't never had a powerful band to play with him because he had a nasty attitude. But on this one here, Keith Richards was backing him up when I saw it on that thing, that Zoom thing.
Man, I'll tell you one thing. Keith Richards would love your instruments. You know, I've met Mr. Keith Richards, and he would love what you're doing.
Keith Richards
Absolutely.
was not cutting y'all, but Keith Richards was a hell of a guitar player. Cause when I saw him in DC, he
Mm-hmm.
had a beat up Telecaster. He had took some chisels and chiseled out of place and taped the Johnny Brown double humbuck on the back and had the front pickup taped in there. But he put some stuff on Satisfaction that Otis Redding didn't have in his band.
Mm-hmm.
He
Mm-hmm.
was playing with a group called the Great Winos.
Oh, the expensive winos.
Expensive winos up there in
The
Washington,
great,
D.C.
you know.
And Johnny Rivers took Chuck Berry's stuff and done something different with it. Chuck Berry. He had a bad attitude. He could have embellished what he knows, but his attitude wasn't right.
Mm, man. Well, I could tell you that you are somebody that just tells the truth every day.
Yeah, you know I'm telling the truth. As long as you were a musician, according to what Duffy told me, as long as you were a musician, you can listen right at them folks and tell when they're in tune and out of tune. You just didn't say nothing because you didn't have nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't have never hit the pro line if you hadn't know what music was. Because
Mm.
everybody that you see out there playing music just because they up there on that stage and all of them playing together and stuff and everything, everybody ain't playing right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, everybody ain't necessarily playing for the right reasons either.
You can better believe that. I see some stuff on the road with Cecil Harris I didn't know, and he carried me to Chicago with him. I'm supposed to be at that meeting. I'm supposed to gonna get famous. Yeah, man, you got it made. I got up there and everything, man. The way them guys play guitar and stuff. And then when they let you play it, like
Mm.
several rounds, they tell you, say, yes, said, you can go ahead and play something. I don't know how they do it, but they stuff you cannot get their amplifier and they guitar sound like it was when they were playing.
Mm.
Now there was a woman come in there. I
Mm.
forgot the name of the club, Southside Chicago. A woman coming there with John Lee Hooker. Yeah, John Lee Hooker. Said they were coming from Texas, off in the blues circuit in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
A woman had red hair. Never heard of them before. And right now, I have started hearing about how great she is. Her name was Bonnie Ray.
Bonnie Red, of
And
course.
she was in there, man, and had on some jeans like she hadn't, pulled them off in several months. But anyway, she reached in her back pocket and got a slide out in there, man, and played
Mm-hmm.
that song by Stoop Down Baby. Stoop down and let your daddy sit. Everybody got quiet and they were looking at her cause see they thought she was hippie or something running with John Lee Hooker. But
Mm-hmm.
John Lee Hooker was drunk.
Mm.
And they ain't heard no more from her until one night I was here looking at Austin City Limits and she was up there, but she was playing country music then.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
tell you, another guy ain't as good a guitarist as you think he is. But a guy,
Buddy Guy.
he's a three-string man.
He's a three-string man.
Three-string man, him and B.B. King too. Now, Muddy Waters, he got a little something in the background stuff. See, well, he hard hit.
Mm.
Lightning Hopkins is now he's a full neck man too.
Mm-hmm.
But
One of my
see,
favorites.
if you ever notice a real blues man
Mm.
cannot sing a lick. They're the worst sounds singing people to ever be.
Mm.
But yeah, and still you take them guys like the Rolling Stones and Vernon Reid and Keith Rich and all of them, they listen to what them guys doing that they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Or they can take their same music and man, it sounds totally different.
Mm-hmm.
And all of them ain't using effects now. Jimi Hendrix, yeah, man, great guitar. He played this and that right there. If you take his rack from him, he couldn't have played dead.
Mm.
Huh? Am I wrong?
Well, you are entitled to your opinion. I love Jimi Hendrix myself.
He didn't ever play nothing I like. And well, see, the thing about it is now, if I had never had that experience, see, I told you, it ruined me. Sure did. Now, my favorite guitarist, two of them.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite guitarist is Doc Watson and
Okay.
Jose Feliciano.
Jose Feliciano, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jose
Light my fire and things.
Jose did some stuff that you could lift some licks off him for blues and stuff, but people didn't listen to what he was playing.
Mm-hmm.
See, at this time here, now I don't know whether he went to electric instruments or what, but at this time here, he was just playing a flat top classic.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
right.
a lot of people claim they didn't know he was blind.
Mm.
Doc Watson was blind.
Yeah, Doc Watson was one of the greats. Absolutely.
Have you ever seen a man could thump a guitar like he did? You know that little fit poop in the background of his music?
Mm-hmm.
I saw him on television now. See, I never got into his music, but I saw him on TV with David Hope.
Mm-hmm.
Doc held his own.
Doc held his own. Well, you mentioned Mr. Lightning Hopkins. He's one of my favorites too.
Well, I like Lightning stuff. I like John Lee Hooker stuff, but not everything that he recorded.
Well, of course not. Not everything, but
I tell you what, another guy better than he thought he was. But he didn't never go nowhere with Jimmy Reed.
Oh, Jimmy Reed. Oh, yeah. Big Boss Man.
Big Boss Man and Bright Lights. He brought us
Bright Lights, Big City.
He reversed the John Brown solo licks to the bass strings, and he brought that kutung, kutung, kutung. And actually, he didn't invent sound like people said he did, because way back yonder, Bill Doggett and all that crowd had that same sound on the bass.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? Bonky, 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 bonky. Everybody used it till they used it up, but Jimmy Reed used it to do his blues stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What you think about Gatemouth Brown?
Gatemouth Brown was tough, and he was a full neck man. But the only time I heard anything Gatemouth Brown played was somebody took and showed it to me on a computer or something.
Mm-hmm.
And Sonny Terry, Brian McGee, and Lion Lemon Jefferson. And I can't name them all. Big Annie Mae, she didn't never make it. Now we got this movie coming out with Martin Rainey and stuff, and it might already be out.
You see, yeah, I saw it. I saw it with Ma Rainey's Black Box. It's very good. It's very good.
Yeah, I read a personal memograph of Martin Rainey, and some stuff in the movie it don't go along with what she said, the hard times she had and the way she was treated and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But she was back then in the day, she got a chance to do some stuff, some gigs for Paramount.
Mm-hmm.
So she said in the book.
Yeah, but what you think about? Do you ever listen to Sister Rosetta Tharpe?
Yeah, Sister Rosetta Tharpe was the first one, the first black person I seen on stage playing the SG. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, mm-hmm.
And
played it well. And played it very well.
Yeah. But then she worked that neck down there. She could run from the chords up to the top of where the nut had slammed down to the bottom and would lose the John Brown lick. Her and Marie Knight.
Mm-hmm.
I saw them on a tour in London. On what the name on the computer.
Mm-hmm.
She had on a John Brown overcoat playing that SG.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
Done a good job playing it, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
And think about this, she didn't. You could tell by the way she was playing the instrument, she didn't have no effects.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Man, Mr. Vines, I gotta tell you, this has been such a pleasure to talk to you and to get so much information, about the way you thought about it, how you created all these magnificent instruments, and the fact that you've been chasing after your sound. It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
It's fantastic just talking about a man like you, and I'm chunking this eyeball with a slit right on you so I know you if I see you again.
I wish you well, man. I don't know if you're gonna have an operation or whatever, but I hope you get your full sight and everything, and you can get to that next bunch of maple, so you can make your next bunch of guitars.